Hello everyone. In this video I'll be going over how I built my tree or Christmas tree, however you want to call it, on top of the pagoda to include a receiving area for not just you on the zip line, but also if you're sending the weed stems by themselves across the zip line. So as you can see, I did build a little bridge from the upper part back here because that's where I got my grass from. I'm just going to run across real quick and go over one or two things before I jump over to creative and get going. So if you're wanting to build on the pagoda but not necessarily do something that extravagant, you can build your base right down here. You can just build a base using, a couple of these areas. Maybe this one, and that one that I just was on back there. And you can put a decent sized base up here with no issues. The one you can even maybe go this way. That leaf might get in the way, but the one area I would suggest avoiding is this back area right here, the south. What is this? Let's take a look at the map. The southeast side, because the bird lands right there. And if you've seen my video on riding the crow, he lands there. I jump on him, and then we go for a ride. He sends me either into the haze or across the street. I'll have that video linked in the bottom if you want to take a look at it. It made for one hilarious stream. But I'm going to go ahead and switch over to creative, and we're going to start by building the bridge out and then doing the catch area first before we actually do the base itself. So give me one moment and I'm going to pause and go over to creative. Alright, and we're here in creative. I'm up on the rock wall, northeast corner of the pond, close to the light, facing the pagoda. Now you obviously don't have to build on top of the pagoda. It is up to you where you want to put your tree if you want to build a tree. I just put mine there because I wanted to do something a little bit more extravagant. So now I just gotta get these. Try to just aim that in the right general direction. Nope, that is definitely not where I want that. There's another thing too, is to kind of, where do you want this to actually be pointed? Now, one thing to be mindful of is if you're going to be running back and forth on this little bridge a lot, if you decide to build over here, build some handrails. Because if not, you fall off. It's a long way to get back up here. So, just build across. That way you have a way to get to the grass. You can put handrails on this if you want. In my game, in my live game, I'm going to be tearing this down as soon as I get the grass plank pallets full. So now I'm just building, a set of stairs up. Keep hitting the wrong button on my my gamepad. And if you're having, maybe issues getting onto here, like I am for some weird ass reason, no more issues. Yeah, because I want that over there. I don't want that to line up. Alright, so that is, quick little bridge across. And this doesn't take too long, other than the 2 weed stems for the stairs, but I didn't do those till later. I did just the straight grass planks out from using the grass back there. Now, to start this, you're going to want to build a way to get your weed stems in from somewhere in the yard, wherever you've got them at. So what I did, I'm going to try and... There is a spot where the clay formations will take. I'm trying to get it to where it's straight on the edge. I try not to have it too angled. Now, I don't know why that won't take there. And then I'm going to delete that out for a reason. But that gives me my anchor for this bottom wall area. I know it may seem kind of silly to put it underneath there like that, but gotta have it anchored somewhere. And then what I'm gonna do is take this all the way to the edge. Obviously this wall is not gonna line up exactly like mine did in the real game, but that's okay. That is okay. Now I'm going to put in the bottom wall here. Oh, that's not supposed to be up there. And that's also too high. I do remember this is halfway up. So this first wall, you don't want it to be lined up on it directly because that'll block your weed stems sliding, and you want it to go halfway up, like so. I don't know where that just went. Oh, behind me. So now there's a reason for doing that like that. Now, you're going to want to leave a gap on the second row of walls that you see me laying down for your weed stems to be able to slide in on. The beauty of creative, everything just kind of builds wherever it wants. So you're going to put, like for me, first thing I did before I put the anchor in is I went and started putting in the floors, because I needed to know exactly how high up to go with this so as not to have my floors get all kinds of screwy like this, because creative wants to be fickle. If I'd have realized that would have been going off while I was here, I would have visited that outpost before I did this video. And some of these you don't have to fill in, like that last one I put right there. Probably don't need that, but I don't have to worry about resources because this is creative. So now in the real game, mine is actually a bit higher than this, and I think what I did was, instead of starting like that right there, I came up here and I did something like this, and this is how I started instead. I brought these down, and that's how I lined up my my deal. So this is actually how I would suggest starting. Don't start by doing the walls down there. So no, forget all that, what I just did. Now with the blueprint, you have to put a blueprint up first before you can come underneath it to do the blueprint down here. So yes, that is blocking it for right now, but I'll fix that in just a second. In the game, you don't have to complete the top blueprint. You just complete the bottom one and keep going. I'm going to get rid of all these little floor pieces down here, because I do remember in game that I did not do this first. I actually did the stairs to get back up first, because while I was working over here, my lean-to was up on that edge. I had about 3 sets of stairs, and then I built floors off of that, and to include matching the walls to it. So this looks a little bit more like what I have. As you can see, these are off on their height. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete all this. I know you're like, why didn't you plan this ahead of time? That's my bad. Now I don't always. When I was building this live on stream, I redesigned the upper base 5 times while building it. Wasn't the best idea I'd ever had, but it worked. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and delete all of it, and if I can get to those foundations, I think what they were called for a second. Like I said, be careful not to fall off the edge. There's that one over there. It's going to be a problem. So this may or may not turn out to be a problem down here. This one. We'll see. If it is, then I'll have to restart all over. Alright, so just kind of going along, laying out the floor. Don't go too far forward with this section, but I will come back and delete it here in a minute. Just to make kind of the whole... Oh, you guys can see how I did it, so you can maybe plan yours a little bit better. Maybe not waste as many supplies as I did while I was building this thing. That takes me right to the edge. Okay. It actually took me longer to set this up than it did to set up the base up top. Let me go on top. I'm pretty sure I can make that angle. Or not. Okay. Or not. Alright, now we're going to continue across here. Now some of these I'm going to have to delete out just so that I can... That's too low. So the main thing here is you just want kind of an open area for your weed stems to slide in and not bounce back out. And you still want it to be halfway up that bottom wall, just so that when it is, see that foundation's getting in the way. Okay, I still managed to make this fit over the top of it so I can keep going. Now I'm gonna put a zipline anchor, roughly. I have a base in that general direction out there. So I'm gonna put my zipline anchor. It was roughly right here on the leaf. So now I have a kind of a guide of where not to put roof pieces or where not to put floor pieces above it, because I'm gonna put actual roof pieces. And I gave it a space of 2. Like I said, how you build your catch area is, 100% up to you. And like also building over here is optional. This is the way up from when you're down here picking up all your stuff. I left a little side spot over here so I can get up. But let me get up here. And see, in the real game, that would just be a blueprint. That wouldn't even be something you actually completed. And I would always put some place to sleep there. Now, back here for this, I finished a little catch area. Odd, but okay. Alright, so that is how I basically got all my supplies in here as fast as I could, without having to have me constantly go back and forth on the zip lines with my supplies. I had a large enough opening, and I would say like that right there. Close that in and just have your zip line. Actually, depending on the angle of your zip line, you could leave this open, because this is high enough up. When they bounce off of this, they'll drop right here. I think I lost out of 2 dozen arm loads worth of weed stems, maybe more, which is 8 per. I lost 2 total. Another thing you could do is, if this doesn't quite work for you, you could open this up and make this go a little bit wider. So if I do, so we could open this up some if we wanted, you just didn't quite think it would fit, or if you want to go 3 wide, just to make sure that everything can easily get in here and get caught. But the trick is to make sure that it doesn't fall forward and out into the water, because once it's down there, yeah, it's a pain to bring it back up here. And to me, it wasn't even worth the effort. So I'm gonna sleep real quick, just so I can get back in the daylight.
I can't be the only one feeling tired.
Alright, so like I said, start with your stairs. Come down with your stairs, I would say maybe 3 sets. And then build your floor off of that, leaving a spot open on the side so you can get down here to get your stuff. Have an opening. I mean, this works quite well. Your weed stems will come in, they'll hit this, and if they shoot over the top of it, they'll bounce into that and fall right here. If they fall short and fall back, they'll hit this lip and they'll stay here. It makes getting all your stuff in here a lot easier, but then again, this really only works if you have a base in that direction. I have 2 in that direction that I use to send stuff in here. But it definitely makes things easier. If your base is in a different direction, then you need to build your little catch area and facing a completely different way. So if say you're trying to go that direction, you would build, I'll find it. You would put these walls halfway down. So instead of being at the top, they would be like halfway down right here. And then, now we'll go all the way across. And then you would come up with that in the wrong spot. So this is just building a different catch area if you're if where you're sending it from is in that direction. I mean, you can angle this however you need it to be. I'm just showing a couple of different options real quick. Yeah, that's exactly where I wanted both of those. I forgot to leave a way out. And before you ever send anything across, I would always suggest test it. Don't ever just, blindly send stuff over thinking it's going to catch. Test with 1. I would always test with grass. But then again, weed stems bounce a little bit different. So I would always test with 1 and then slide over and see how it goes. So even like this, granted this door wouldn't be here. If your zip line came in at a high enough angle, it would go in there, everything would get caught. And then having an actual door here, like a legit functioning door. That way when you can go in, get your stuff, come out when you're done, close the door. That way it's ready to go for more zip lines to come in with more stuff on it. So that's just another way of building a quick little catch area. You don't have to build a huge tower or anything. It can literally be a little hut. And like I said, these grass walls need to be, at a half position on the floor. Just so that when the zip lines come in now, if the zip lines are coming in low, they may not make it across. So that is kind of a thing there, is to make sure your zip lines are coming in how you want them to come in. But that was just a quick little alternate in case your bases are, not where mine are. All right, now to get up there or to fall off the edge right here, whichever comes first. Now in my game, my stairs are a little bit different as far as where they reach. And then we're going to go with, because I like the look of weed stem walls, sorry about that. And now we're just gonna pick a spot, and that's where we're gonna go up. That is angled off just a bit, but it should work. And I like bounce webs because they take up a lot less space, than stairs, because the stairs would be a really long stretch of stairs versus bounce webs is vertical. And then also too, before I forget, I also did put one light right in front of each bounce web. Maybe I can turn on while I'm jumping, or not. That way at night, if I'm trying to get in the base, I can see where the bounce webs are. Now for this in the game, when I was putting bounce webs here, I would jump on them and then they would repeatedly just go off. That's why if you stop and visit me in the game, while I'm playing, it does that. So let's get rid of the annoying noise right away. That's why there is a bit of grass off to the side, for that exact reason. That way I can jump and it only goes off once, not a whole bunch of times. I need a grass floor. I need some weed stem walls. I actually need 2 grass floors. And then up here is a good bit of grass flooring. Now this can be, you know, however you want it to be as far as, I mean, how you have it set up. You know, a little entrance area. The reason I did these 4 over the nose, over this little, the point, is because that's where I did the stairs going up. Now, I did do the more expensive weed stem walls, which is 3 instead of 2. But I did stairs because I'm only going up 2 levels instead of 3. And bounce webs would have me flying way too high if I was doing bounce webs right there. So you see, I'm just going a little 4x4 on the floor. You know, I'm sorry, 2x2. So 2 forward, 2 left and right, whatever. And then 2 high on the weed stems. Now I'm going to put in, I'll go ahead and do the floors first. So I do the floors halfway up, 2 of them side by side on the far side. And we're going to do stairs to go up. And another set of stairs to go up to the main floor. Now this is a floor where if you saw my base tour video, it had jerky racks, water production, and pallet storage. And I thought about this one for a while before I actually laid it out. And I wanted to go 6 off of the main tower in every direction. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing. 1, 2. Whoops. Also, too, while you're up here, I would recommend having Daredevil on, just as a precaution. It's at 3, 4, 5. So with Daredevil, if you fall, you'll take a little bit of damage. Your armor will take some damage, but you won't die, because the Dandelion Tuft doesn't always activate, as you saw during my base tour video. If you watched that, I jumped off thinking the thing would save me, the Dandelion Tuft, and it did not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are all 6 in every direction off of the center area. Now I also did the rows that go right next to them out to the same length. Oops. And I'm gonna set up the floors and everything first, and then work on the roof system. The roof system was a little bit trickier, but basically this goes out 6 off the edge, off of the weed stems here, and 4 wide once you get up there. And then from there, I don't know why I keep hitting that button, I angled it into the other sides. we'll just do that again on these other 3 sides real quick. So yes, this did take a while bringing everything in from the grassy area back there, but having that little bridge made it a lot easier. I didn't have to go out to any of my other bases for grass, because with, you know, ant armor coming back with 8 at a time, I wasn't going to use any workers' comp smithies to make it go faster. I wasn't going to do that. So now we're going to go up 2 more wall sections for the center column, basically the trunk of the tree, or the center staircase. I have to delete that one that's in the middle now. That doesn't belong there. That doesn't belong there either. Good job on paying attention and not blocking in the door. So this side doesn't get any walls at all on the bottom, because you have 1 stairs coming up and 1 stairs going out. So that stairs going up to the next floor. We'll put in some actual floors and the next set of stairs. Now to get that tapered look, we're going to go 4 instead of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But the same thing, it's going to still be 4 wide. So that's 2, 3, 4. This way you maintain that same look all the way through. Oh, that is supposed to be there. Okay. I did that right. I'm completing this corner while I'm here, because as you get off the main floor, the floors get a lot faster because they get smaller. Well, that makes sense. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's your 4, and then you just do the little corner pieces real quick. And then we'll go ahead and finish this off on this direction. So we're going to go, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then bring that one all the way out. That one and that one come all the way out. Now I did redesign this, like I said, several times while I was building it. And it wasn't the floor that I redesigned, it was the roof pieces. And I'll go over those in a little bit. They were very tricky to do, just because I had to worry about them constantly deleting whatever was above them. And that did happen quite a bit. Oh, thank you. I wanted that right there. And right there. So. Now these walls are going to be where I attach my weapon racks, my shelves for my boxes, and all that kind of stuff. Now we're going up to the last little level, which more or less is unused on my world. It has mushrooms on it, which I don't use mushrooms, but I wasn't about to just not have it there. So we're going out by 2, just 2. Or, you know, whatever the heck just happened right there. It's only going out 2. That way, like I said, we're going to keep that tapered look. And we're still going to do that like that. So it's still going to be 4 wide. I think it's still 4 wide. I don't remember. Had a busy weekend. Oh, come on. had to think about it for a second. All right, so yeah, this is exactly how it looks in my live game. So it's two off the edge, and then these are just from one end to the other. Whatever, when the row runs right next to the center staircase, it goes all the way to the edge as well. And then corner pieces to just kind of finish it off. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and build up the rest of this. Now this one doesn't, there we go. How to get it right. This one goes up one level, and then I put a bounce web in. So I could go up on a bounce web because I prefer bounce webs to get to the top. As well as I needed it to not be super, super tall, but I needed it to be tall enough because I will have ceiling tiles attached right up here. So first we're going to do is the stairs in, and then 3 floor sections, because the bounce web goes in this corner next to the stairs. If I can get it to rotate in there to turn blue. I had it. And you see a bounce web will cover 3 sections. So, whoops. So right there is only 2. So we have to get a 3rd one up there. I can't see because my character's in the way. Oh. So that is going to be the height, the max height right there. Because you want to go three sections up from that thing. I'm going to hit it again because I'm going to try and land directly on the wall. Now, while I was up here, that's when you start laying out your blueprints. And I built an area up here to kind of walk around. But I wanted it to be symmetrical around. But I needed a bigger area for the zipline anchor, which is why there's a set of stairs and the zipline and the bounce web kind of wraps around, because the zipline anchor goes right here. And however you need to face it to hit whatever you're trying to hit. I put a bunch of lights right here behind mine just to make it look like the lights on the top of a tree. And when I say a bunch of lights, I think I have 14 of them. Something like that. First person makes it easier to light them all too. Okay. So now I have this brightly lit top, and the zip line's going wherever they need to go. So that is the basis for all of this. Now we're going to work on the roof. The roof was a bit tricky to get done right, because you can't just always attach like this. Maybe on this one you can, because it's creative. So just, regular roof pieces right off the center trunk or column. This one is the one where I use the squared roof pieces, since it's so small up here. And then, like I said, this area is where I put my mushroom gardens. I basically lined up the edges of the blueprint with those the 2 vertical lines on the weed stem walls right there. So that is more or less how I did that. Now for the next floor. This one is where it gets a little bit trickier. At least in the real game it does. You have to kind of mess with it because you can't do that. So you have to then start attaching things, walls and such. You either have to do your walls from down, because see, you can't even attach walls here. I would have to come down here and then come up and attach that out. And what I would suggest is be prepared for some of your stuff to fall, because it's not always going to stay. So try to get all your roof pieces in first before you delete out those walls. because some of them may fall, some of them may stay, and the ones that stay you can then build off of. You're going to do the corner pieces, the interior corner pieces, back to the roof corner, and then wrap around like such. Or, you know. Same thing. Roof corner, interior roof corner, roof corner. Back to just roof piece. And back to the roof corner, interior. I don't know why that doubled. One more roof corner so you can get back onto this straight away. But this is the part that I changed several times until I finally came up with this design. So that I can do like that. Now, this may or may not be an issue. Because I've completed it, when I do that, if I delete that, that might rip down the entire roof section. So let's see. See how it does delete some, but not much, including the floor above. So like I said, be prepared for it to do that. Don't get frustrated. Don't, you know, don't just say screw it and not do it. If you really want this look, you just gotta basically go back in with a few pieces and replace. Because once you have some of the roof pieces taking and actually staying, you can then just continue off of them. So now that I got rid of all those support walls, which did say 28, but that's not how many fell down. So that number was a little deceiving. But that's the part where I said it gets tricky, is getting them to stay. But you see how it actually stays, gives that nice looking roof effect. Now on this floor, where is it? I put my bed over here on this side. Yeah. You can put it wherever you like. This is just how I did it. I think I did some armor dummies up here. Where are they? Which way is he facing? Okay, good. So for this, I would make sure you know exactly which way they're facing, because probably not a good idea to have them face into the wall. If they're facing out of a window, I mean, I have a bunch of mine that do that. Okay, but facing into a wall, maybe not okay. And a couple of lights. The spinning wheel is right there. I have spinning wheels up here just because I'm trying to keep things away from the edge on this particular level. The lower levels, the stuff that's real big and obvious near the ledge, is in the back. Compared to like if you're in the middle of the yard. So that, other than... Alright, let me go up here. I forgot to finish this level real quick. I would recommend doing these all around. I mean, there's a lot, so it did take me a couple of trips coming back and forth with the sprigs and the rope. I would do them after you put the roof in, because the roof, like you saw, will, as you're trying to get rid of that support wall so you don't have that ugly look, unless you want to keep it, will delete some of the floor pieces, which means some of the handrails that are attached above will then get deleted. Which is why I did not do this earlier, is because I had a feeling that when I did these roof pieces, that was going to delete some of those floors. I should have waited to do the mushroom garden as well. See, these are far enough away from the edge that I'm not worried about them getting deleted. I also did a little bit of light, you know, right there. Yeah, maybe a little bit more light right there. I did put a bunch of lights along the edge, but once again, I wouldn't do anything near the edge until you have your roof sections completed. So once again, we're going to do the wall supports, and then come back with the roof pieces. And like I said, I would go all the way around with your roof pieces, and also save ahead of time before you actually do the whole delete the before you delete the wall pieces out of the way, because if it just deletes a whole floor, you're gonna get really frustrated. But if you've saved it and, you know, all right, I'll just leave that wall piece there, you know, something you can work with or something you're okay with, then you haven't lost a whole hour or 2 hours, however long it's been that you spent working on it. Whoops. So like I said, we're just doing roof corner, interior roof corner, roof corner, interior roof corner. Just alternating pattern to get across this angle. And then back to regular roof piece. And I'm going to go all the way around, including the weird just drop in the middle of the thing. Roof corner, interior. Oops, I already did that one. Oh, they did take in the right spot. Okay, wasn't sure. And once again, moment of truth. How much of this is it going to delete? So, right here is where I would tell you to save it. Make your saves before you delete that, because that could very well, as a matter of fact, I'll take my own advice. Being that it's this little corner piece right here, if you start it in the back and it's out of the way, out of sight, you might just leave it and be okay with it. If you're me, you're going to be like, nope, it has to go. But once again, it takes out some of the floor above, which is why I always said make sure you save first. Alright, that matches. But now that it's out of the way, I can come back and replace this. 1, that's 2, 3, and 4. And that is this, the top 2 sections. Now we'll go back up and do the little handrails and everything. Now this floor is pretty much 100% done. It's a very wide open base. I tried to keep a bunch of stuff away from the edges. I wanted it to not have the edges look cluttered. Excuse me. I didn't want the edges to be cluttered with a whole bunch of stuff. I will put a bunch of lights along the edge, which once I'm 100% done with the next floor, which is the tricky one of all of them, because, well, you can't stand underneath it. You'll fall. Unless you build some sort of scaffolding up to it so you can build. I had to do it. I did it from on top, and it was a lot trickier. Because I had to delete the supports and, well, hope that I didn't fall with it. Okay. So, that is the top 2, actually 3 wall roof sections of the tree base. Now this is the big floor. This has the jerky racks, the water, the pallet storage, and as well as shelves and ornament, was it trophy mounts and weapon racks. I'm gonna go up here because it's about time to sleep. Yeah, I got 5 minutes in game, so we'll do the whole sleep thing here real quick. 2 seconds and go, or not. Alright, so don't have to eat or drink because it's creative. So now the tricky part was getting the floor pieces down there, and I think I might still have the stuff underneath it in a way, but we'll find out. So the way I did this was I put one wall up, and then I completed the one wall underneath, and then that, and then from there it was just lay out the roof as you can, you know, as much of the roof as you can. As I've been saying, complete the section first, and before you go to delete, save. Yeah, never go to delete without saving first, just in case the unthinkable happens and it takes down more than the little bit you've seen in this video. So like I said, this was the trickiest of them all because I stood at it from a distance and didn't have this overhang off the edge, And I just kept looking at it, and it didn't look right because the 3 floors didn't match. And for me, I have a bit of OCD when it comes to things like that, and things have to match. So I was determined to make this work, and when I almost walked off the edge. That's another thing too. Be careful when you're doing this, because you see I'm standing on the roof pieces I'm building. I'm trying not to fall to my death. Even though I won't die, because it is creative. But trying to fall off, because it's still a pain in the butt to run back up here and do all that kind of stuff. But if you do not have the Daredevil modification, have a Dandelion Tuft on you, and be prepared to hit the shift key or whatever it is on control. I think somebody said it was the right thumbstick. Oops, wrong one. The fact that I have to alternate back and forth, that's what slows this down. I mean, it's still going fast because it's creative, but laying the blueprints was still slow in the real game. Just because I was constantly having to bring up the build wheel, change blueprints, and then every other one alternate back and forth. Alright, so now the tricky part is deleting this. So like I said, save first, and then try not to stay near the edge just in case you fall. Be prepared. See how that didn't delete too bad. And that's kind of how it did for me in the regular game too. I'm not saying it'll do that for you, so don't just automatically assume that and do this with, delete it without saving. Always save just to be as a precaution. Now your stuff is going to fall down to the bottom, and you may have, it may hit the water. So some supplies are going to get a little bit wasted. And not in the good way. Alright, so now that is in place. Handrails, because, safety first. Yep, floating handrails at that. Yep, more floating handrails. We got this. But the reason I tell you to, one, save first, in case anything falls, you don't have to, redo a whole lot. Two, another thing I tell you is to complete the entire circle of the roof before you delete that one piece, because with the entire circle of the roof, it is more likely to support itself all the way around, and you see how little got deleted versus had I just done a little bit and deleted the supports out of the way, it might have ripped all of what I put up there down and had to start all over. But at least with some of the roof pieces staying, I was able to connect with them and then finish the circle of the roof. Or what is this, an octagon? Oh my lord, seriously? Okay, so that is the main floor. Now on this floor there is shelves right there, right there, right there. Apparently that shelf went inside. Oh yeah, that's not a shelf anymore, that's blocking the way. Now if you're wanting to lay out your boxes and you want them to all be nice and neat and clean and orderly and on these shelves the right way, you lay out the blueprints. Don't actually have to complete them like it does here. I think I put one of those down in here somewhere. Let me look. Nope, okay. Just checking. And this way you can drop the boxes behind the blueprints and they'll still be lined up nice and neat. Now you see I have a problem here, and I found this out in the real game, is don't do this shelf yet. lay these in for put these in first. As you can see, the doesn't really help when it when they go through the thing. I'm only gonna do a few. I'm not gonna do all of them because I mean you can do basically 18 per side. That spacing is bad. So I use the blueprints just for trying to keep things in a straight line. It doesn't always work because you see these things kind of go right through them anyway. But you can also use that line on the floor right there at the edge of the box. You see the edge of the blueprint. I have a real thing about how these things are spaced out. And then from there, you'd put that shelf back. Where is it? Facing the same way. I'm gonna delete the handrails or I'm gonna delete the floor underneath. Yeah, that's genius. You've broken it again. All right. You see, you can fit 6 easily. If you probably work that, you could probably get more than 6. But I'm not gonna do that. Mine are also already built. So then you do another 6 and another 6. You get 18 on this side, and you do the exact same thing on this side. You put another 18 over there. Like I said, make sure you do your bottom row of boxes before you do that. That row of shelves right there. And you can lay this out however you choose. I'm just kind of doing a quick how I did it. And yes, that is very crude. It's not very precise as far as how they're laid out. Now the top shelf doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the boxes because I can still get boxes on here with no problem. It is being a bit of a pain right now, but there it is. And then you need to put boxes up here too. An easy way to get the boxes in line on the top shelf is to actually jump up here. Maybe switch to first person. And then line them up. And that one is literally right at the edge of the shelf, and so is that one. And you would do all the way across 6, 6, so you'd have 18 on each side. So you'd have 36 boxes in the base. And then down here, I had a little bit of fun since I like to do a little bit of decorating. I did, where's the wolf spider? You know, the big mean wolf spider head right in the middle. And then on either side of that, a ladybug head on this side, and the big bombardier head there. And weapon racks. Just a bunch of them. Not that I really need them, but it's all good. I'd rather put my weapons in here than in a box. As well as some lights, because it does get dark. And like I said, that would be full boxes on each one of those. Some lights here. Now over here is where I did my, let's see, food prep. These guys, and they can go all the way out to the edge. They're small enough. Third person makes it easier to kind of see exactly where the blueprints are sitting. I think I had 4. I might have been able to squeeze in 5. Yeah. And then, you know, as always, you gotta put lights. I may have actually pulled them in some. And then another one in that far corner over there. I try to get the lights into a very specific pattern. Now these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections wide. So right here in the middle of this one, just for the symmetry, not symmetry. Yeah, 1, 2 and a half, 1 and a half. Yep, perfect. Now over here, these are 4 wide, so I went with the light right in the center. And this is where I put the water. Now the water dew collectors, they have to be a little bit further in because of how tall they are. But we'll make it work. Another reason why it's 2 stories in here, under, you know, between here and that ceiling. Let me turn these lights on. Alright, so now we're gonna go back to the food collectors, the food and water area. Now, I did 3 of them in here. And I'm just kind of gonna lay these out kind of quick. And then behind that, not that I need any more water in my world, but at one point the game didn't have any more water working. Your stuff didn't produce any more water. And that's how I have it. I have 3 dewdrop collectors in here with 2 water tanks behind them, lights behind that. And then over here, I'm going to do the rest of the lights real quick. Because the rest of this is basically just me putting lights in and trying to figure out why that light is in the thing there instead of where it belongs. Now once again we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, so this is the middle. One, 2, that's the middle right there in the corner. 1, 2, 3, that's the middle right there. Now this front is where I put the pallets because they're small. They don't take up a whole lot of, they don't block a whole lot visually. And I also didn't stack them, which is another reason for me not stacking them, was I didn't want them to take up too much space, too much visual. I did the smallest pallets towards the house, and that's the, when I say smallest, I mean height-wise. So 1, 2. And then I went back over here, kind of in the same thing. I went from this light towards the middle light there. Now spacing, you see the spacing off, and that one is off. And then over here is where I did the grass. Okay, so that is the full base set up the way I have it, other than me putting all the boxes in. I'm not going to sit there and do that. That would just, no. Let me check if I need, I know I need lights up here, don't I? Yes, I do. So we're going to continue doing lights. 1 in every corner, 1 right in the center, corner, middle again. And we'll turn them all on real quick. But in all, it took me 3 streams. Let's see. With me goofing off and having some fun on Saturday, which that stream was like 7 hours, but a good bit of it was me trying to ride the crow. Maybe 20 hours to build this, and that's just because of its location. You know, this one takes a while. Now this floor, I only did lights on these little corners, and that was it. One of the lights look a little different here, but I wanted, because I don't use this floor for anything other than going up top. Speaking of which, it needs light right here on the stairs. So you've got your light there. You don't really need light going up because that's bright enough. If you're going up at night, you're going to be well lit up. And you've got the lights down here with plenty of lights around the edges, as well as a lot of open space for whatever you want to do. Or if you want to make it smaller, you can. Instead of making this 5 out, you can make it, I mean, instead of 6 out, you can make it 5, and then 3, and then 1. So it's all up to you how you want to lay out the look on your for your base. But that is the base itself, all laid out and done, all nice and pretty. I'm just gonna go back here so I can turn around and get a good look at it. So you see, it has that same tree kind of shape to it. I know I'm a little too close, but the nice thing is this is creative, and I don't have to hunt down resources. I can just start doing this, or I can get stuck. Excuse me, sir. You can't do that. Alright, so apparently I'm screwing this up. But in creative, if you get right in the middle and jump. And now you see more of the tree shape. Now that I got a little bit of height from where I'm standing. And yes, it does kind of stick off the top here just a little bit. It is not really anchored to the top of that, by the way. Just keep that in mind. It is anchored to this. So if you saw in my world, I had a bunch of blueprints that I hadn't completed yet. And that was because I need to just bring the supplies over to complete them. I also didn't put enough lights on this going up section. So one thing I will be doing on my world is a bunch of that right there, just so I can, oops, get it better anchored. Maybe get that that supporting number not to be 500 and something like it is. And like I said, just a little bit of a light, just something so you can see what you're doing. Nice thing is you can stand right here if you're trying to work in this area. Maybe you're trying to actually do this so that you are like me and you hate that where it says, you know, supporting 500 and whatever. I think I can hit this one right here. And then come back in with, I mean, you could do this on both sides. Just to try and tie it in or close it in even. It's up to you. I mean, that's personal preference really. Don't lock yourself in though. But I guess that's personal preference too. So now you have your way up, and one last little area that I just noticed I was missing some lights, and that's right here. So you got your lights going in, you got your water, jerky, storage, more storage, weapon storage, more storage here, which, you know, this is a really big base with lots of space in it. Probably more than necessary, but that's how I like to build. I don't build small. Spinning wheels, bed, more armor storage, and then up here the ever useless mushrooms, which have actually grown already. Nice. And then from on top of that, now up here is my highest point ever in the game so far, which I know some people are like, oh man, I got points way higher than that, and that's awesome. I just don't really build I don't build really tall. I build, you know, more eccentric, I guess, but not really tall. Now, one last thing is once you've got this all completed and you're done with bringing stuff over, I'm gonna get rid of this real quick. Because if you stop by my world and, you know, I go over there, you're not going to see, well, you're not going to see what I'm deleting right now at all. You're not going to see this other roof section right here, because I got rid of this 100%. It's gone. I got rid of this. I closed in the walls, because if I want to bring stuff over now, I'll bring it over on my character. Wrong angle piece. Wrong position. Well, I guess I shouldn't have done that. Guess I should have been paying attention. That's why you make saves. Sorry. So in mine, it's all closed in. Oh, come on. Seriously? And then this would be closing too, but I'm gonna go put that wall back real quick. So same thing, I gotta do one wall piece up and then a wall piece underneath. Now to get down there. And the front of this is just closing like this, just so it has that aesthetic to it, that's all. I won't let that go that way, that's fine. Oops, can't go up yet. So, we're replacing this yet again, because I wasn't paying attention when I deleted something. So that's one thing to pay attention to, is what's supported, how many things are supported in each spot, because you never know when you might delete something that you don't want to delete because it's supporting a large section of wall somewhere. And then to make it look pretty, because these crenellations to me are ugly, and my receiving zipline anchor is roughly right here with the trail marker right next to it. That way if I'm looking to try and figure out, you know, where this base is, like where the zip line is, which line do I need to jump on, I can look and see that this is right next to where I want to go. But now I'm going to run back across the wall. Always bring stuff to make a lean-to wherever you're working, especially if you brought enough food and water for a few days. Bring materials for a lean-to. So now I'm just going to kind of run along this way and then turn and look back, and you'll see that it looks very similar to what I have in my world right now, which is what's in the thumbnail for this video, was a picture of my base in my world, or one of them. So you see, there it is. There is my tree. There's the little bottom area where it's just kind of all walled off in green. Even has a little bridge there, but that is what it looks like in my world, other than I did not fill in these weed stem walls yet, but that will get done. But if you guys like what you saw in this video and would like to see more content like this, hit that like and subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications. I do stream on my YouTube channel 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday in the afternoons, starting roughly between 3:30 and 4 p.m. Mountain Time. I will be live again tomorrow doing some more, restocking. Since I built two bases recently, I need to stock up on all my supplies. But until the next video or the next stream, if you decide to stop by and say hi, you guys all have a good one.